out in a boat. Said Scraggie Aggie to Auntie Vi, "How you're doing today? Whilst Bugger's repairing some fishing nets, we could get out to play. Practice a wee bit of casting out, so when we're out in the boot, we'll catch so many fish you'll wonder how we stay afloat." Aunt Vi didn't always understand what people would say. She'd simply nod approvingly and just hope and pray. Aggie took Vi under her wing and showed her how to cast. "Quite different when you're out in a boot," she said to Vi at last. In hushed tones she'd explained to Vi why Francis wasn't there. He had important guests to greet, so thought it only fair that he should then rejoin everyone later in the day. So for a while Aggie took over. That's what she did say. "It's always useful to have Francis around," Aggie said. "When it comes to business, he's got a level head." Secretly, Aunt Vi was very pleased that Francis wasn't there. If she made a fool of herself, she didn't need to care. It was Aunt Vi's turn to cast out a line. She stood up and threw out her arm. She did it with such gusto, she lost her balance, her panic then breaking her calm. She really should be called Calamitous Vi, as she went in the loch with a splash. It never takes long when Aunt Vi's around. She can create turmoil in a flash. "Man overboard!" Scraggie Aggie screamed aloud. "Help needed here!" she screamed once more, as Aunt Vi's huge waders were filling with water, dragging ever deeper for shore. Scraggie, though a very strong woman, now feared Vi's waders would drag her in too. Yet she pulled and dragged Vi with all her might, until from the loch Vi she drew. Aunt Vi, being safely dragged onto the boat, slumped onto the deck, sodden, shaken and tired. Now remember the boy from a few days before, whom Francis had told off? Knew what was required. From the dockside he shouted and yelled for help. The emergency team then appeared. He swiftly told them what he'd heard and he'd seen. For the two ladies' safety he feared. Into a speedboat the volunteer students climbed, with the emergency team and with Bug. With great relief they rescued the ladies. Swiftly they gave them a huge hug. Having been informed, Francis MacFrugal then met them, thankful that their safety was won. He rewarded the lad whose swift alert was raised, and whose grin was as bright as the sun. A New Year bash had been planned in the loch grounds. All were invited to attend. The food and the drinks were all paid by MacFrugal. Such a generous display he did send. As for the ladies, once they dried and changed, and Bug had got over the shock of seeing Aunt Vi in a dire situation, he thought Scraggie Aggie did rock. A welcome treat came in the form of a MacFrugal special fry-up they did share. All the guests drank hot chocolate by a roaring log fire, and they all relaxed without a care. A two-hour siesta came to their delight. Aunt Vi and Bug drifted to sleep, but totally exhausted after day's 3 events. As for sounds of snoring, not a peep.